Welcome back. There is no question physical health.
Absolutely. And today in CURES, we're talking about really the power of our mind and how we can overcome and replace those negative thoughts, that angry roommate in your head, with transformational expert Julie Reisler, a board-certified master life and wellness coach, also a Georgetown University professor. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. It's a good conversation.
Yeah, I love that. How many thoughts do we think a day and how many are negative?
This is so nuts. So people don't realize this. We have anywhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day. And the way I like to say it is a lot of those are trash thoughts. Those are thoughts that are throwaway, like 80%, something like 75 to 80% are negative throwaway thoughts. Yeah.
That's a ton. How do we flip that narrative?
Well, the first thing we got to do is become aware of it. You've got to become aware of these negative thoughts that you're saying to yourself. And one of the things that I like to talk about is starting to become aware of that is to track it, to notice what you're saying. And so I keep a journal with me and a pen, and every day, start with one day, write down the things that you're saying to yourself that are not kind. We all do that, right? Get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and what do you say? Oh, like this is not what we want to be saying to ourselves. And we do this all day long. And so you want to get clear by seeing it, by tracking it, so that you can start to become aware and realize, oh, I'm saying this because of neuroplasticity, which is where what wires together in our brain, those neurons. When you start to notice and become clear of what you're saying, you can actually change the firing and the wiring. You can change the way that you are thinking, the way that you're talking to yourself, the way that you're perceiving the world around you. It's so powerful.
So a lot of us might be getting into affirmations, and I think where people get stuck is they say, okay, I am abundant, but they don't feel abundant because they're looking at their bank account. Can you talk a little bit about that? Are affirmations a good way, in your experience, to kind of counter that negative self-talk, or what do we need to know about trying to fix that?
Yeah, I can say a lot about this. I'll just say this, that affirmations, yes, affirmations are important. Here's the thing. We're saying affirmations all day long, whether or not we realize it. What we want to do is choose consciously affirmations that are going to actually, first of all, that you feel aligned with, that you believe. So if you're saying I'm abundant and you don't feel abundant, that may not be the best one to use. But if you look at the inner workings of your body, right, and you say, oh my gosh, my digestion's working, my heart's beating, my lungs are working, there's a lot of abundance within me. So you see how you tweak it. You can find an affirmation, something that you're saying that actually feels true. We do want to say things that feel true. And we do want to say things that are kind, that are compassionate, and that are uplifting and encouraging, because our body is responding. We're not just our mind and our thoughts, our body, our mind, it's intricate. It's deeply connected. So we want to come up with affirmations that are going to feel like they are true, and that when you say them to yourself, if you look in the mirror, I have a little mirror here. I do this every day. I look in the mirror and I'm like, Julie, you want to affirm yourself. I am here to make a difference in the world. I am kind. Say things that you can feel. And as you do this more and more, you're going to rewire your brain. It's the way it goes. It's so cool. We have so much power to change the way that we're thinking.
I want to go back to just the journal that you keep, because I'm sure that there are probably patterns that we all have with the negative self-talk. There are probably topics or areas that we are probably more negative in than others. Should we also be maybe focusing more on the areas that we find the positivity in and focus less on the areas that we find the negativity in?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked that. That is such an important question, because so number one, we do want to become an observer and aware of the things we're saying that are negative, because we have so many of those. It's called the negative bias. It's where we're looking to basically protect ourselves, but to really change the way that we're thinking, it is so, so important to focus on what we're doing well. I call them celebrations and wins. You can even put in there learnings, things that you have learned in your life. Maybe, there's a challenge that you went through in a relationship and you realize, wow, that really taught me a lot. I've become so much more resilient. So we definitely want to be tracking and writing about those things that that really we're celebrating about ourselves. This can be a little challenging because many of us are not used to doing this, but it's so important. It's really healing. It's really healthy. And it can rewire your mind, your brain to be looking for what's going well. And that can change everything.
Yeah. And Julie, we're going to take a deeper dive on the CURES podcast, really get into some of the neuroscience and things we can do right now to counter those negative thoughts. There's a great book that you have written. It's called Get a PhD in You. You can find this on Amazon, and you can also find more from Julie's website. It's Julie Reisler, Reisler.com. And definitely download the CURES podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to take a deeper dive in all of this. Thank you so much, Julie.